In this video, I'm going to be covering the Battle of the Gullet, which should take place in the first episode of Season 3 of House of the Dragon. Now, if you don't want any spoilers, I suggest you not watching this video. But let's get right into the Battle of the Gullet. The Battle of the Gullet, also called the Battle in the Gullet, was a battle that took place in 130 AC during the Dance of the Dragons. It remains among the bloodiest sea battles in all of Westeros history. House Velaryon blockaded the Gullet and controlled access to Blackwater Bay at the start of the Civil War, which we've seen in House of the Dragon. After the assault on Harrenhal by Prince Daemon and further blows to the Greens, Otto Hightower, in the hand of the king to Aegon II, hatched a plan to break the Velaryon fleet's blockade. Otto reached out across the narrow sea to enemies of Prince Daemon, the Triarchy, hoping to persuade them to move against the Sea Snake. Otto's plan took time, and Aegon II eventually ran out of patience with his grandfather's plans, replacing him as hand with Sir Criston. The schemes of Otto eventually bore fruit, as the High Council of the Triarchy accepted his offer of alliance in Tyrosh. 90 warships, commanded by Admiral Shirako Lohar of Lys, swept from the Stepstones under the banners of the Three Daughters, bending their oars for the Gullet. Meanwhile, on Dragonstone, it was decided by Prince Jace that his half-brothers Princess Aegon and Viserys Targaryen would be fostered with the Prince of Pentos until their mother, Queen Rhaenyra, had secured the Iron Throne. The princes departed on a Pentoshi cog, the Gay abandoned towards the end of 129 AC. The Sea Snake sent 7 of his warships with them as escort. Gay Abandon encountered the Triarchy's fleet, which had sailed up to the Gullet. The Gay Abandon was taken captive and her escorts sunk or captured. Possessed only of a dragon egg, Viserys had no way of escaping from the cog and was made captive by a Tyroshi captain. Aegon escaped the Gay Abandon on his young dragon Stormcloud. Sailors attempted to bring them down, and Stormcloud was wounded by arrows and scorpion bolts. Nevertheless, they flew to Dragonstone, where Aegon delivered the news of the threat from the east. Stormcloud ended up dying at Dragonstone from his wounds. Now, during the battle began on the 5th day of the new year in 130 AC. Shirako Lohar divided the Triarchy ships into 2 squads, entering the Gullet to the north and south of Dragonstone. They attacked at sunrise, surprising House Velaryon's fleet. Flying on Vermax to meet the fleet of the Triarchy, Jace swept down upon a line of Lysine galleys. The sailors had experienced fighting Prince Daemon and Caraxes during the War for the Stepstones, which we saw in Season 1, so their captains directed their spears and arrows against Jace. One ship caught on fire and then another, however. When Jace was joined by Ulf on Silverwing, Nettles on Sheepstealer, Adam on Seasmoke, and Hugh on Vermithor, the line of warships from the Free City shattered as one gallery after another turned away. Vermax flew too low, however, and crashed down into the sea, possibly wounded from a crossbow bolt to the eye or pulled down by a grapple. Survivors said that he struggled in the rigging of a burning galley and sank with it. Jace leapt free, but was then killed by Myrish crossbowmen. North and south of Dragonstone, the battle continued into nighttime. The southern squad bypassed Dragonstone, believing that it was too strong to assault, and instead attacked Driftmark, setting afire the harbor of Spicetown with fire ships. The town was then sacked, with its inhabitants butchered and left as carrion. High Tide and the treasure of Lord Corlys were burned by Myrish and Tyrashi soldiers, with the Sea Snake's servants cut down as they fled. Thousands died from the battle, and Spicetown was never rebuilt. The Velaryon fleet lost almost a third of its strength. Prince Jace and his dragon Vermax were killed, and Prince Viserys Targaryen was taken captive, but presumed dead by both sides. Prince Aegon the Younger never forgave himself for abandoning his little brother, and according to Mushroom, Hugh the Hammer and Ulf celebrated their participation. Nettles and Adam were heavily affected, with the latter seeking out the Sea Snake, though what they spoke to each other remains unknown. Many people on Dragonstone came to resent Queen Rhaenyra, for kin that they had lost during the battle. Only 28 of the 90 ships commanded by Scirocco returned home, and only 3 of those were not crewed by Licini. The Gullet was considered a disaster for the Triarchy. The Myrish and Tyrashi widows accused Scirocco of sending their fleets to destruction while holding back his own Lycian ships, thus beginning a quarrel that would eventually lead to the Daughters' War. A disgraced Scirocco discreetly sold the captive Viserys to Magister Bazan of Lys, and ultimately the battle was very costly for both sides, and it could be considered both a tactical victory for the Greens and a strategic win for the Blacks, whereas the death of Prince Jace deprived the Blacks of one of their own commanders and Queen Rhaenyra of her eldest heir. The Greens had failed in their main goal, which was to break the hold of the Velaryon fleet on the east coast of Westeros. Moreover, the Greens' allies in the southern free cities took heavy losses that they played no further part in the war. So there you have it. That's the Battle of the Gullet, which again we should see in the first episode of season 3, which with all the action that they've been building up to, it better be epic. Thanks for watching.